It's Nicole with Passionate Gardeners here, and today I'm really excited to share with you a conversation about succulent planting and gardening in the drought. Here in the West Coast, in Northern California, and in a lot of the arid West, we're dealing with hotter and drier conditions. And so the question is, and you're probably wondering and worrying, what are you going to do with the plants that you already have? What are you going to do with your garden? How will you get through the drought? And also, alternatively, you're probably wondering and thinking about what changes you can make. So I think that succulents are the obvious, and hopefully you'll really enjoy them. If you're not familiar with them, we're going to go through and talk about some of the ways that you can go ahead and design your planting beds using succulents. That's the focus of this particular episode. And we're here today at the Ruth Bancroft Garden in Walnut Creek, California. Having some fun at the Ruth Bancroft Garden, as you can see, and we're going to show you around and get some good ideas here, as well as other places, as to what we can do to handle the low water issues that we're coming up with. And so using succulents alone, and also using companion dry garden plants. I wanted to give you like a little glimpse of some of the incredible plants that they have for sale at the Ruth Bancroft Garden. They do a great job. But for this one, I wanted to just show you, this I think is just a good example of, God, don't these two agaves look very similar? They're so different in terms of how they're going to ultimately grow and be. So what would happen is, if you ended up buying one of these plants without a label, or you didn't really know familiarly what it was that you were planting, you could be in for some trouble. So, for example, this one is Agave Cornelius, and it wants to ultimately be 18 inches high by 18 inches wide, okay? Versus this guy here, which is Agave Americana Mediopicta, and that's 3 to 4 feet high by 4 to 5 feet wide. So they both look really similar right now. I mean, there's a little yellowing in the variation. This may be a little bit more creamy. But really, if you just were given one of these without a tag and you had no idea, might you plant it in a connection that doesn't really go together, and you can't really think things out very carefully. So really important to keep that in mind. Over here I've got a couple of just sort of, another way to look at things also is, of course, always big, can't say it enough, looking at the height and the spread. So when you can get this information. So this is a sedum, we see this used a lot. And it's it'll want to be 2 to 3 inches high, 4 to 6 inches wide, full sun. So this would be great, the sedum fine gold. It looks a lot like Angelina, the other sort of yellowish foliaged sedum that's like a low prostrate ground cover. You could do a little foot traffic on it. I don't think this plant is really a great idea for too much foot traffic. You'd probably bruise the leaves. But this is a good example of going for the lowest possible ground cover. Here's some excellent ground cover succulents, and I just grabbed a handful of these. And you can also see that the color palette is here. It's like the color wheel. That's what's so cool about succulents. I mean, you've got the yellow, you've got this purpley Graptivaria, you've got Graptopedilum over here, and you've got this blue Echeveria right over here, a crassula that's green, and kind of this redding up, reddish, burgundy purple. Yeah, this is Dickia. This is in the bromeliad family. It's a relative of bromeliads. So anyway, each and every one of these can make an incredible floor area for a succulent bed, or an area that you just want to go ahead and have some drought tolerant, low succulent ground covers. This one's a good fit. This one doesn't have a huge growing profile. In fact, when I look at it, it's 2 to 3 inches high, 4 to 6 feet wide. I take that very much back. This guy is great because obviously he's going to go ahead and spread and fill in and give you a nice carpet area. And this guy also, if you plant a bunch of these Echeverias, growing to 1 feet tall and also spreading, and you could just do a nice grouping of them. You could do a grouping of any of these, and this gives you sort of the low ground plane, and then you could do your medium size and your tallers in the back if you want to do that, and depending on how you're looking at the bed and depending on what you're doing. But knowing what you're buying, and of course looking at each one of these individually real quick. This is Crassula pubescens. And that is a 2 to 6 inch high grower by 2 to 3 inches, 2 to 3 feet wide. Hardiness on pretty much all of these guys, meaning the average low winter temperatures that they can really survive and stand on pretty much all of these here is, well, between 20 and 25, 30 degrees. You have to check each one for the specifics, but in general, in San Francisco, for example, this hardiness, these succulents are hardy enough. I love this one here. I mean, I love these all. This is a really neat Graptovaria Debbie. I'm definitely going to end up taking some of these with me today. This one is a 4-inch high grower by 1 foot wide. So you can just see how little she is now, but she's going to be quite impressive. And in a grouping, playing with these colors, you can just do so much with them. Shrub succulent, it's something that's going to be the next size up. Over the ground cover, you're kind of going to the next level. Aeoniums are great, and these are really easy to get your hands on. This particular variety is pretty popular in the trade. It's Aeonium arboreum Zortkop, and that's Z-W-A-R-T-K-O-P. And I have a post on that, so I'll lead you to that at the end of this video. It's going to grow to 3 to 4 feet in height, and it's got a spread of, let's just say, 1 to 2 feet, but I really rarely see it grow to 3 to 4 feet. More like, 1.5, 18 inches to 2 feet. And then you behead them and you kind of work on your collection if they get leggy. I also wanted to show you this. I thought this is so great. I have to leave with this one too. I haven't seen this one before, and I think it's just so sweet. This is an Echeveria nodulosa, and it says that it has wide rosettes. This is a rosette, as is all of these are actually little rosettes, and that's part of when you are dealing with succulents, you'll be looking at rosettes. It's a real nice sort of circular rosette. And anyway, back to this one, I wanted to just, I just think it's so unique with its, these margins, the like burgundy margins, and this little kind of marbling on the outside. And this one will be 1 to 2 feet high, 2 to 3 feet wide. It wants part sun and has a hardiness between 26 and 28 degrees. Over here we have a lovely Blue Glow agave. I kind of picked this one up just to kind of show you. I've been showing you different colors, and this is, people love blue foliage, blue silvery, blue gray foliage. I know I do. And imagine having a grouping of these as part of your, your design. And they say that this one is, it looks like the tags kind of come off a little bit. And you really do need to know. You can't really guess. There's so many cultivars that it's hard to identify plants unless you're with them all the time, and there's always something new, and different places carry I think different varieties, so it is really good. I can't say enough how much it's important to kind of know what you're growing so that you can understand how to put your composition together.